What's up, everybody? Shauna D Man here, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you guys had yourselves a great week, getting ready for the weekend and some college football, perhaps. If you're new to the channel, be sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And if you're watching on Rumble, be sure to hit that follow button over there. But we are here with our Season 3, Episode 9 review of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. And this is a Ortega's episode. So obviously, this was probably something that was leading up to a certain point throughout season 3, even though we only got probably like 2 episodes worth of it. Episode 1, when they're being rescued from the Gorn, and then I believe episode 2 with the wedding, the whole wedding sequence and everything like that. We know that Ortega's had, well, I guess episodes 1, 2, and I think it was three or four, where Ortega's is kind of dealing with PTSD. Now, we don't really see much of it except for the beginning of the season, dealing with the Gorn. I thought maybe this would be something that would kind of like linger throughout the season, but not. It didn't really come up again. We had the episode where she kind of like disobeyed orders, and got you know, taken off of duty for a couple of weeks, and she had to meet with like do a psyche eval and stuff like that. Even in this episode, M'Benga had to clear her to fly solo missions. So I was kind of hoping we would have gotten a little bit more of the PTSD of Ortega's throughout the season. We didn't really get that. But this episode, I guess, kind of makes up for that, honestly, in my opinion. Because the episode is basically is essentially the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So the episode, it revolves around the Enterprise, basically exploring some uncharted space. And they come across like a gas giant and that has weird gravitational anomalies going on. So they retrofitted a shuttle, stripped everything out of it, and Ortega's is going to fly the shuttle and drop a buoy, primarily just to see who else comes around this system. But as she is going through, navigating and scanning and collecting data for Enterprise and everything, a wormhole appears out of nowhere, which causes her to go into it and disappear off Enterprise's sensors. And automatically everybody is pretty much fearing the worst, that Ortega's is gone. Now Enterprise is they're not quite ready to leave. But we pick up with Erica. She's made it through the wormhole and she crashes on a nearby moon within this system. The traditional, systems are damaged, rations are burned, we gotta find food, we gotta find water, that whole survival trope and everything like that. She is able to make a water condenser out of some of the parts of the shuttle. Now she's got to find food as well. And so one of the things she notices throughout the episode is this weird blinking light in the distance, which I assumed the light was kind of guiding her to where she needed to be. And so as she is following this light, she comes across this small looking camp. Looks like somebody else is on the moon. And then like as she looks around, she takes out her binoculars, a periscope, or a rangefinder, whatever you want to call it. She takes it out and she sees a figure walking towards her location, and it's none other than a Gorn. And I was like, oh, this is okay. So again, this episode is a Ortega's episode. This Gorn, there's really no telling how long it's been trapped here. Probably for quite some time. We see that like as Ortega's is hiding, there's something else seems to be going on, or at least something else is watching her, like another predator or something like that. The Gorn actually uses her as bait to draw out like this large alien centipede, basically for it to feast on and eat. There's a moment where Ortega's and the Gorn are about to fight, and Ortega's just like, all right, get it over with. But the Gorn's not interested in eating her, and so it just tosses her aside and goes about her business and eating the centipede that Ortega's, was bait for. It even throws her a piece of meat from it. This show, like, Ortega's just kind of hesitant. It's like a trap or something like that, or you're gonna try to like attack me or something like that. But the Gorn actually has a messed up leg, so even if it wanted to, it probably couldn't really. And so, meanwhile, on Enterprise, they are trying to come up with ideas. They're in a dilemma. It's one of those things where like Enterprise just happens to be the only ship, or maybe in the area, or one of those kind of tropes. But they're in a dilemma. They they want to make they want to check to see if Ortega is alive. Obviously, the appearance of this black hole is even Spock is not really understanding where this how this wormhole kind of like appeared and everything like evading Enterprise's sensors. Obviously, Uhura wants to make she feels Ortega's is alive. We can't leave her, but but the dilemma is Enterprise is supposed to meet with I think the Constellation to take a vaccine to a colonist planet that is like being plagued by a plague. Um, and they have to meet a certain deadline to go meet them to go take the vaccine to this planet or to the colonists. And so Pike decides, okay, if you can come up with some more data, like really hard data, then I'll consider consider something. So basically, because during this time they're sending drones in to try to create a link to try to get in touch with Erica, but the drones are failing and it's not working, and the wormhole itself is slowly starting to close. And so Pike is basically like, okay, again, if you come up with some solid data, like hard numbers, then I will approve of the mission. And the mission is basically taking the Enterprise into the wormhole and kind of wedging it open to keep it just open long enough for them to try to scan and try to find where Erica is at. And I think there's like over 200, 300 moons alone in this little system. And so, but back on the moon, you know, Erica and this Gorn, Erica makes a kind of retrofits, maybe a tricorder into a universal translator. Now, it doesn't necessarily work as well. It just does agree and disagree. However, Erica learns that the Gorn that's strapped here can actually understand what she is saying. Um, we get some interesting conversations between them because Erica says the question. He's like, "Are you studying? Or like, are you like studying how to hunt your prey?" And the Gorn's like, basically, no. And Erica's like, "Oh, you want to understand your enemy?" Yes. And so again, the Gorn and humanity, and I guess humanity slash the Federation have been, engaging with each other for quite some time, potentially, or something like that. But um, the Gorn itself seems to be a pilot, just like Erica, and so Erica just starts to realize they have a lot more in common with each other than they would have realized. And even make a game of chess and a potential um, whatever the board game the Gorn came up with. And so the plan is for them. They're going to try to fix the communication array from the Gorn ship, and because Erica knows Enterprise is looking for her, so if they can find a way to get their attention, they can get out of there. Um, there was a lot of like touching stuff here because Erica's talking to it, and it's just kind of like because Erica remembers that the Gorn destroy, they basically don't tolerate weakness, and Erica's just kind of like you being rescued will be a sign of weakness and things like that, and it's just there was like so much. There was like I don't. I'm trying to think how to word it. There was like so much humanity in the Gorn that you could understand what it was talking about, even though you couldn't understand the like even though it wasn't speaking English. You can understand a lot of the stuff from what it was talking about. Meanwhile, on Enterprise, Eric or Uhura and Spock are working on the plan. Uhura is dead set on making this work. They come out with a solid plan. And I mentioned the fly the Enterprise, wedge it in there, yada yada yada. But Pike's like, I can only approve this if like basically the communication and everything is above 60%. It's at 56%, but Uhura fudges the numbers to make it like a 61% outcome. And so Pike's like, okay, all right, we'll do it then. And so as they're going, because as he says, like, well, since Erica's not here, I'm the only one qualified, the next best pilot to fly the ship and everything. And so they wedge it in there, and they start to scan the nearby moons and everything like that. And Pike's, they're a little worried. The shields are holding and everything, but the gravity wet, but the black hole is not taking it very well. And Pike's like, hey, yeah, we're a pit in the stomach basically. And he's like, don't worry, this will work. It's 61%. Kind of not guaranteed it will work, but a 6%, 61% chance. And Uhura starts to like do a little silent prayer. He's just hoping this will work out in the end for everybody, because there is a deadline. Una puts, and it basically says there's a deadline that if we don't meet the constellation by this time period, we're not going to be able to get the vaccine to the colonists in time. And so on the moon, Erica, like the Gorn is infected because there was an encounter they had with one of those centipede creatures earlier, and Erica has gone out to get more crystals to grind up and kind of like help the infected leg heal up. She gets chased by some of them because she again that twinkling light is blinking in the distance, and even the Gorn notices it. And just kind of like somebody's watching us and that kind of deal. But Erica accidentally causes the communication array to go out and their shield to go out, which was protecting them not only from these mutant centipedes, but also the toxic storm that is making its way to them. So they come up with a plan. The Gorn shows that she has a jetpack, and so their plan is they're gonna like let this toxic cloud come over them, because at a certain point it's going to become flammable, and they're going to light it, and it's basically going to light the entire atmosphere pretty much on fire. That's going to signal the Enterprise that is where Ortega is, and so kind of as they're scanning, it kind of malfunctions. So Eric has to run out there, manually do it, fire it off, and then the entire atmosphere lights on fire. Enterprise picks up on it, and Pike has La'an take a landing party down to the moon to get Ortegas and get out, and so they can get out of there. And this is where I was like, this is the sad part that comes in. So as La'an and the away team beam down, make their way towards where Ortegas is, you see Ortegas come out of this makeshift heat shield protector that they kind of like put together from some of the parts of the Gorn ship, and then the Gorn coming right out behind her. Now, understandably, like, you can understand La'an's reaction. Like I don't think you can be mad about the way she reacted in that situation. She possibly could not have known. So they go to so La'an and the away team go to raise their phasers, and it looks like the Gorn was trying to protect Ortegas, but from La'an's standpoint, it looks like it's trying to attack her, and they ultimately kill the Gorn. And Ortegas is just devastated. Like she can't even be next to La'an at the moment, and you see her like just yelling out of frustration, anger, and like, like, who are you? Why did you do this? Why are you watching us? That kind of stuff. And as they get ready to beam up, everything freezes. Everybody freezes, like in mid transport. Everybody freezes except for Ortegas. We come to find out this was I believe a Metron was the name of this species that has apparently been around longer than the Gorn and humans have been themselves. And so they were basically, I feel like this was an episode in the Next Generation. I can't remember which episode it was, but it really feels like that. Um, but it was basically a test to see if the Gorn and humanity can ever find peace with one another. Um, but obviously, because of La'an's actions, and maybe they have to rethink things and stuff like that. Um, essentially Ortegas is going to forget. Probably, I think they're going to make Ortegas forget that they met Metron, but only you remember basically what happened. The experience that she had with the Gorn through that time, and then you know hugs and jubilation between Ahura and Ortegas, and she's just like, you know, the Gorn was my friend. She protected me. La'an's my friend. What am I supposed to do with that? And basically just remember her and what she did for you and everything. And the episode ends, and I was just like, man, this episode made me sad. The ending made me sad. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that ending. But yeah, that is the ending for episode 9 of Strange New Worlds. So that means next week is the season 3 finale of of season 3. I'm very curious to see if it leaves on a cliffhanger, or what kind of what we get out of that. But this has been a pretty fun season so far. I really enjoyed it. But that is pretty much it, guys. If you're new to the channel, be sure you hit that like and subscribe button and comment below. Check out my other channels and other content down in the link description below. But other than that, guys, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for watching, and I will see y'all in the next video. Y'all have a good one.